Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in living and thriving land. You are watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I am Rusty. I'm feeling rusty. I just got out of physical therapy. So that is a lot of pain. Believe it or not, it is a lot of pain. Good pain. It's a good pain. That's what they say anyway. It is absolutely gorgeous today. We have 85-degree weather, which is coming down from 115, or it feels like 115. So now it's 85. We're getting closer to my favorite 75. Winter's almost here, and the sun's out. It's just beautiful, 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 beautiful. The sunrise has been amazing. We get up stupid, ridiculously early, as everybody knows, and we travel over a bridge every morning so that Chloe can go to school. And it's just been beautiful oranges and pinks and reds, and I'm just in love with the tropics. I'm in love with life in general, and I can't even describe to you what it's like to watch the sun hug the horizon the way it does as you're cruising over a bridge and you see the water shimmer like a dancer, you know, just this shimmery beautiful, and how much gratitude fills my soul for having another chance to crawl over that bridge every day. This show is so exciting to me because I get to share beautiful people from all over the world, and they get to tell their story of triumph and how they get to appreciate the moments in life. And today, this lady is so lucky I'm not her mama, because I'd be beating some people's asses. I truly would be on the front page of a newspaper, wouldn't I, Miss Lisa? Really? Oh boy, girl. I'm telling you, you got to talk me off the cliff, because
Thank you. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you officially. Man, I haven't even gotten through the entire book yet, and you and I, we share some very powerful insights, but I'm telling you, there would be some asses I'd be beating if you were my kid. So you're just lucky that our generation time was different.
So I'm just going to say thank you, because I probably could have used it.
Lord.
Yeah.
So Lisa, tell us who you are, what you do, and what inspires you to be you.
My name is Lisa Kohn. I have a day job in life. So in my day job, I own a leadership consulting and executive coaching firm called Chatsworth Consulting Group, and we partner with small nonprofits, large nonprofits, big corporations, helping leaders and people be more effective, productive, love what they do. We call it thoughtful leadership, being present, intentional, authentic, and that's my work. And then on the other side, you held up my book. My memoir was published just over 2 years ago, and I'm a published author. People say, what's it about? I say it's about me. The way I describe my childhood, the people you want to beat up, is the best seats I ever had at Madison Square Garden were at my mother's wedding, and the best cocaine I ever had was when my father's friend, the judge. And it was a crazy childhood, and I'm trying to spread a message. My writing is Lisa Kohn Writes, LisaKohnWrites. That's my website and all my social media. And I'm just trying to connect with people and bring more love and hope to the world with my story and my work. So there's a quick overview.
That was perfect, actually. This show goes by really fast. People don't realize, they think a half an hour is a long time, but it's really not. It zooms by.
It's not.
So what's exciting about you is in the book, you really took your clothes off and you're standing in the middle of Manhattan going, this is who I am. I mean, I've done it 16 times. I have 16 books. I got you. I understand.
Yeah, it's a wonderful naked feeling.
It's a little breezy. But what's exciting about you, I think, is that you've taken a story where the reaction is, as a mom, I'm going to be kicking the judge's ass. I don't care he's a judge. I'm going to be beating his ass, giving my kids some. But in reality, it just was very casual, wasn't it? It was just like,
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, first of all, as kids, you don't know that your world is whacked until someone kind of shows up a mirror. And honestly, my life was crazy before the church. My parents were hippies, had us too young. It was you know, primal screaming and drugs and all this crazy stuff. And then we joined the biggest cult at the time. You know, I was best friends with Reverend Moon's kids. I was a Mooney, member of the Unification Church, hence the big mass wedding. And then I left and went in this path of self-destruction, including a lot of cocaine use with my dad's friend, the judge, and ended up at the age of 24 engaged to someone who drank a hell of a lot and was really mean when he did. And someone sent me to Al-Anon, the 12-step program for people with their arms around the alcoholic. And I walk in going, tell me there's an alcoholic. There's no way I would ever be with an alcoholic, because I was so highly functional on the outside. I didn't realize how broken I was on the inside. And so I don't even remember where your question started me on this answer, right? But so it's this process of like, yeah, it just is what it, I mean, still today I'm healing. Literally today I was in a session healing from that stuff, but it also is what it is, was what it was. It was my childhood, and it was just, you know, my dad did a lot of crazy things. He thought he was doing them in our best interest, as crazy as it sounds, having my brother smoke pot at the age of 10 in his best interest. And my mom was brainwashed and believing in a better world. So yeah, all these awful things happened, but it just was what it was. Like it just was my childhood. So.
Well, so here's the thing that I want to point out. One, you were part of a cult, which people don't really understand what that means until after the fact.
Yeah, if you're in a cult, you always say they're a cult. This is not a cult. That's a cult, is what you
exactly.
In the middle of one.
Boy, it's kind of interesting to have this conversation during this time period.
Yes.
Yes, but the second thing is, what is normal? I mean, I'm being a little bit of a devil's advocate because I know you like challenges. We are a society that is very quick to condemn, to ostracize, to point out flaws, to make sure that you are not George Jetson's wife. You were not that perfect. You're not Jane. And we're going to put labels and actions and reactions towards something that we deem in our own personal value system, which is just our sphere right here, right? We deem that those things are wrong. Your parents were young. They were very open-minded, right? So was it really wrong for the time? You know, you can go back and forth on those parameters because it's based on your personal value system.
Right.
And so for me, coming from traumatic experience as well, which is our sisterhood, I would forgive you a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, because again,
the reality is, one, they did the best they could. They were babies having babies. They got pregnant at 18, had my brother at 19, me at 20. Oh my gosh, right? Two, let's go to my mom, right? Cults, we are all susceptible. Extremist thinking, it is wrong. It is dangerous. It definitely carves you and creates awful situations. And as human animals, we crave certainty, purpose, and community. And it gives you absolute certainty, purpose beyond belief, and a community you will never find again. I mean, I still say, like, knowing you have the truth is the most intoxicating drug there is. Even if he wasn't the Messiah, and he wasn't, believing he was the Messiah is a wonderful, powerful feeling beyond belief, beyond description. And so, whereas, yeah, wish my mom didn't do it, yeah, understand why she did it. And only recently she said to me, do you think I was brainwashed? And I'm like, yeah, think, because you wouldn't have done what you did if you could have thought for yourself, right? And my dad, I know where his scars and inabilities come from. So it's compassion for they did the best they could, but compassion for the little girl, right, in me and all the different little ages who did not get what I needed to be healthy, whole, you know, and okay. So it's holding both of those dualities. I don't blame them anymore. I probably had to go through a stage of blaming them. I don't blame them anymore. And yet it really wasn't okay what happened. And yet it made me who I am. So in the long shot it is, but I really wish I didn't have the scars still, but it made me who I am. So it's holding all those complex truths to me.
I love you. That's what I write about all the time. It's like, okay, here's the real me. I'm pissy and grieving 10 years after the situation because my dream triggered a smell, and here I'm back into that cycle. And people look at me, they're like, boy, you're still raw. It's like, yeah, probably forever.
It's funny, when the book came out, I realized that I still thought I was damaged. I'm not damaged. I have damage. It's very different, but part of my training, if you will, from my extremist situation was believing I was damaged. But yeah, it's still raw. Like, laugh out loud. Just the other day, I'm with one of my kids, and I said, I just realized that it's not my fault when I get triggered into my trauma. My trauma's still in my body. And my kid is like, really? Like, you teach this? But, I do that. I feel responsible for it, but it isn't. It's in my body. Just today, I was reprocessing, standing on the bridge at Cornell, thinking I should jump off the bridge because it'd be better to jump than to leave the Messiah, right? And so, yeah, I've thought about that before, but it's grieving at a different level and forgiving myself for not jumping on a different level and choosing life on a different level. It's a continuous process of letting in the good, compassion, letting in the good, compassion. To me. Yeah.
So how many hours did you cry as you were writing this? Because I know with mine, it was about a year and a half.
By the time I wrote it, so it started out, you crawl into Al-Anon and you tell your story in front of hundreds of people who have these really big stories, and their jaws all drop, and you go, oh, maybe it was a little different. And everyone said, write a book. And I started writing this half self-help, half memoir. And that went on for a very long time until an agent finally said, write a memoir and I'll represent you. And so by the time of that process, having kind of hashed through it, and by the time of telling my story so many times in 12-step rooms and stuff, it was like a purging, but it wasn't like a crying purging. It was a realization. What I probably got out of it was the ability to see the good in the bad. Like I don't know how far you got in the book, but there are some people who are really not good influences who saved me from jumping off a bridge, right? And so again, that duality of like, this person totally not good for me, but their inappropriate love kept me alive. But and so so I think I did more of that in the writing it, and then since it's been out, it's been this unbelievable finding communities that I didn't know existed of other cult survivors and those that I've born and or raised, and really identifying with that, and then getting connected with people reach out to me from all different backgrounds with their stories, and that is so gratifying because we are all in this together. And my story is unique. Only my brother has the same story. Even he says I got it wrong. But the themes are so universal, right? And what we do to ourselves as human beings, especially coming out of trauma, is so understandable and unnecessary, right? And so how can we all heal from what happened around us?
But I think that delicate line, our human dichotomy, what makes us beautiful and juicy and fragile and mean, is the line that keeps us susceptible to having the things that bump in the dark go, come here. And there's an attractiveness to that. And as a child, you don't really realize that you're like, hey, I'm with my mom and dad, and this is my mom and dad, and this is cool, and I can do what I want to do, and I'm cool, and there's not a structure or foundation that makes that any easier. And I've read a lot about cults, the rainbow cults and Jim Jones and those kinds of things, and I'm going, I could see that I would be suckered into something like that. I could see in my youth how easily exploitable I was. I grew up on the streets, I had cancer, I was little feisty, spunky, scrappy thing, and I never did drugs, but it's really easy to get involved. And so I feel my heart hurts for your parents, and my heart hurts for the little girl inside of you. But what you've done is you've just rubbed the rough off your diamond.
I have said since this, because I do feel quite naked, because if you Google Lisa Kohn, Lisikohn, I'm still the first 3 pages. If you Google my brother, I'm still on the first page, and I do have a business, and I'm a coach and a consultant, and I'll go into a new prospect, someone I haven't met yet, and I'll be like, oh, I Googled you. I'm like, okay, what do you want to know? Right? Yeah, I grew up in a cult. I did drugs. Woohoo! Yeah. But owning that, I mean, honestly, it allows me to show up in my work even more authentically, because then I can have real conversations with clients about how we all get in our own way, right? And again, what's the diamond and what's in the way, and how am I standing in my own brilliance, right? And how do I let my brilliance, let that little light shine, as they
So when did you finally pop out of your little cocoon? When did you get to that place where you realized that you weren't being the most authentic version of you, and that you had a little secret? Or a big secret?
Yeah. So I will tell you that, the times I'm 24 years old, like I left the cult, late teens, early 20s. It's a long process. And I'm 24 years old. I'm engaged. I'm crawling into Al-Anon. I'm sitting in with a group therapist who says you need to integrate the church in order to heal. And I say, no blanking way am I ever integrating. Like, the only way I'm alive is like that, right? There is no such thing. And it's been a gradual process. It really has, of owning and seeing and healing, and owning and seeing and healing, and the ability to say, I am powerful, I am strong, I am beautiful. My editor is screaming, you can't say those things, right? So are you, so is everyone. I turned 57 this week, so it's possibly age, possibly experience. I know I healed by raising 2 amazing children, because loving them put so much love back into me. So yeah, it's I don't even have an answer. Probably a year from now, I'll be like, oh my God, I was so shut down last year. Now I'm even more open. It's just been a process of, I talk about in the work I do, right, the lies in our brains. So I was taught a lot of lies, and I created a lot of lies, a lot of, perfectionism, and all the ways we're all hot on it, all those things I did, and all the ways I interpret, like the fact that part of my brain still thinks I should have jumped. Like, I should have jumped. I was wrong to not jump, right? All of those things that saved my life, it's years and decades of realizing they saved my life. They still think they're saving my life. I don't need them anymore. So how do I love them and choose a different path for the next 5 minutes? That's the, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time. Just for this minute, I'm not going to get overwhelmed by it. And if I do, call a friend. Yesterday I did. I texted my brother. I'm like, hard session. Give me hugs. Got hugs from my big brother, right? Like, what's better than that? So, yeah.
So I know for me, I was actually coaching on celiac disease. And so at that time, there was very limited information, and I'm a researcher. I'm a library nerd, my favorite place to be. And a woman screamed at me and told me I could never understand how she feels, because I've never been through anything. I lived a perfect life, stormed out of my classroom, slammed the door. And my jaw was like, whoa, why would you get that impression? And then about 3 or 4 weeks later, you know how those big God 2x4s come? Oh yeah. I got fired. And there was a whole slew of us that were fired because it was going to be the Great Depression back in 2008, right? Big deal. All salespeople got canned. It was 45 of us. And I was sitting there with an administrative assistant whom I had lunch with almost every day for 5 years. Mm-hmm. That's very important information. And I was like, oh yeah, my husband and I are going to blah, blah, blah. And she goes, when did you get married? Oh God, I've been married since 2002. Yeah. And she goes, I never knew you were married. You never had pictures of him on your desk. How come I never knew you were married? Yeah. And so as I'm driving my half an hour back to my marriage, it dawned on me that my little secrets were so well hidden that people that I had 5-day-a-week contact with didn't even know I was married. Yeah. That was a really powerful moment, so I think that's when I started to come out of my shell. It wasn't easy. But when you come to that realization you're not being the most authentic, I felt really guilty for being a bad coach.
Well, one don't.
No, but I mean,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
beginning, I'm sure you had those kinds of things.
yeah, yeah. There's a saying from Al-Anon probably, we're only as sick as our secrets, right? And that all that stuff we keep and the shame that we keep hidden inside, yeah, it eats away at us. I mean, I will say that, before the book came out, I was careful how I told my story. I've been sharing it for decades, obviously, but it's a sort of story that literally would suck energy out of the room. It's someone, I was once in a meeting where someone announced that they had polio as a child, and everybody's like all upset. And then I said I was raised in a cult, and they forgot the guy who had polio. I'm like, he had polio. Like, it's that kind of craziness. But yeah, I mean, the ability, and I'm learning it still every day. This is me. It's okay to be me. I get to be me. I get to choose me. My Messiah banished me when I was 16. I got in trouble for something I didn't do. Someone said rumors about me, and he threw, like, I was best friends with his kids, and he didn't let me be with his kids anymore, with his daughter. Which only reinforced my knowledge that I was sinful and bad and all of that. But like, I was thrown out for just being, right? And so it's really hard to learn to be again, but it's really freeing when you start to realize that really there's nothing I can do that's so bad, right? I'm generally a good person, right? Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So let's get to the juicy part. There's a lot of juicy parts, but we're gonna, consider time. So you're in Al-Anon. You're engaged to some fellow who likes to drink.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your baby's daddy, is he?
Nope.
Okay, so let's go to where you got into a relationship where you felt safe and comfortable enough to have children.
Yeah, I ended that marriage before it happened, that to-be marriage, and actually was introduced to my husband by one of my best friends from high school who set us up as a joke. That'll be funny. And yeah, I met him in 89. Nope, I met him in 85, started dating him in 89. We got married in 1993. I had my first child at 96, my second child in 2002. And it was just a process of allowing myself to realize that there was something worth loving inside. Yeah. So yeah, that's a.
What was it like to be a mom? Our kids are similar in age, so that's kind of fun. What was it like to you to experience a childhood free?
So, first of all, I gave birth to my first child, and I'm holding my kid, and I'm looking at my kid going, because what happened, we joined the church, my mom joined the church, we were living with my mom, my brother and I were living with my mom and her father, my grandfather, and my mom joined the church, and eventually at one point sat us down and said, I feel really called to be more involved, what should I do? And we said, you should go, leave us and go. And so she moved out and left me in charge for a while with my grandfather, and then eventually moved in with my dad. But so I sat there holding my child thinking, how could she leave, right? And I've talked to other people born and or raised. You have a kid and you think, oh my God, how?
Yeah, I can't
no
imagine
words.
either.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine anything. That being said, decades later, when I actually went back to visit the church, I went back to a church building that I had grown up in to hear Everyone's daughter speak. I remember walking in thinking, and my kids are, I don't know how old at this time, but 10s, whatever. I remember thinking, what if I realize it's true and I have to go back? Like, even at that point, I was scared I would have to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. But so having the kids, and especially my kids at the age where things happened, like my mom moved out when I was 10, and my kids at 10, I was like, whoa, they're really little, right? And my kids went through stuff at the ages that things happened to me, right? Because I do believe in generational trauma, and although I have to work really hard to stop a lot of the disease, I know my kids have scars from my scars. It's epigenetics and it's behavior, and it can't be helped. So that literally both my kids went through something around the age of 10, which is when my mom left. But just having them, loving them, being loved by them, having that, giving that pure love that I didn't really get, and that dedication, and it is absolutely what healed my soul more than anything else. I always say the only thing really important to me is that my children know they're loved, and I once said it to my younger child because I was talking about him, and he doesn't like when I talk about him. And I said, this is what I said to the person interviewing me. That's the only thing that matters when my children know they're loved. And he looked at me and he goes, I don't know, you love me. I mean, that's how loved he is. He's like, I know, Mimi loves me. This is my mom, and Papa loves me. My dad, I know they love me, but I don't know, you love me. That's how loved my children feel, that he can actually say that, right? And
Little
so
shits.
I know, but he's wonderful, right? So I look at them and I learn from them, and loving them is like the most glorious thing. It's the beauty in life. It really is what filled my heart more than anything. Being able to give the love that I didn't get, in some ways, gives back to me, I think.
Do you feel kind of weird? Like my childhood was really awful. Lots of abuse. I have a crack in my skull from, the abuse. It was really bad. And I look at my daughter, even when she's 15 now, and I look at her and she can be sassy, fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I'd get knocked out, broken nose, whatever. But I just look at her and I'm like, God, you were fucking witty. Where does that come from? For me, it's just like this huge surprise. I feel like I get to witness the beauty of being a kid. Not me being a kid, but witness her curiosity and her freshness and her trying to find her independence and that sassy craftiness. And I love it. I would have had a dozen if I could have. And like you, I can't relate to the abandonment. I can't relate to the abuse. And mine's pushed me, but I just don't have it. So I think it's really interesting to be a parent from that history.
No, I mean, I jokingly say when my older was around the age when I was shopping and cooking and cleaning and running the house, and I asked them to make the bed or something, and they complained, I kept thinking, are you joking me? Like, do you want to know what I was doing at your age? Which obviously I didn't tell my kids until much older all of that happened. But yeah, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's what it is like to be strong and confident and secure in the love and have normal challenges, right? It's not all easy for either of my children, but to just go out in the world wholer, which is, I mean, it's just a gift to have been able to give it. It's just a gift to have been able to give it.
Yeah, and I don't think if we never went through what we went through, I don't think we would have been as cool of parents, because Chloe's got a pretty fun mom.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And I also know, like, I got contacted by some young adult who was this horrific trauma story. And what I do know is that those of us who've suffered trauma have an appreciation for life and the simple things in life to such a degree that I've never seen someone who hasn't hit those depths have. So I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I do say you will get out of it. Like, that's one of my messages is you are not damaged and there is hope, right? You'll get out of it. And when you do, you'll be able to look back and be like, oh my God, the sun is really beautiful today, as opposed to the people who don't even actually see the sun, right? So
I'm really big about that. Really big about that. And the one thing that I've been most excited about COVID, and I know that's kind of bizarre to say, but I think you dig me, is the fact that it's been so quiet. Yeah. We have spent generations filling our lives with busyness, filling our lives with noise and chaos and this, and that. And now it's all stopped. Mm-hmm. And we have to not only deal with ourselves that we haven't dealt with, the new version of whatever you are, mine's 4.0 right now, but even nature is just so beautiful and vibrant right now because you have the time to acknowledge and recognize it. And I can't tell you how in love I am with the ocean and my morning going over a bridge every day. Yeah. It's like, only people who have gone through trauma can really feel, because there aren't words to describe that kind of, oh my God, I have another day, I'm going to make the most of it.
Today I was on a bike ride, and I love yellowbirds, golden finches, but I happen to be spending a month and a half in Minneapolis, and I think I've seen one, but there's not a lot. So I was like, I like to see things that bring joy to my heart. And so I thought, I'd really like to see it. I don't know, I said red apples and hearts, red hearts, hearts. Right? And I just put that out there. And I'm biking, and I will tell you that every single person I passed had something red on. right? And so it could be nothing, but I chose to be like, ooh, red, 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 another red, another red, another red, the shoes are red. Like it was just every single person. The shoes are red, the jacket's red, like the inside,
Yeah.
Right. It could be nothing, but I look at the sunrise and I think I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me, because I always love to be reminded of that one more time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, Miss Lisa, we are almost done. This is your beautiful book.
To the Moon and Back. Yes, a
To the
childhood
Moon
under
and
the
Back.
influence.
What,
Yeah.
where, number one, before I get into another question, where in the world can we find you, Carmen Sandiego?
So yeah, if you Google Lisa Kohn, Kohn as in Nancy, you will find me. But it's all my social media is at Lisa Kohn Writes, and my website is lisakohnwrites.com. Writes as in WRITES. So LISAKOHN WRITES, and the book is available everywhere. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. It's 99 cents this week to celebrate its birthday, but buy it from an indie bookstore if you can, because they need our support. But yeah, and I want anyone and everyone to reach out to me, because that's why I do this. Absolutely.
So what's on the 5.0 version of Lisa Kohn? What are you going to do now? You've written your book. You've made peace with the dark side. Young and Freud are having a great time. They're like, yes, she loves her shadows.
Yes, she loves her shadows. That's exactly right. So I would say, right, so I have 3 messages I'm trying to spread. Extremist situations exist. They're extremely prevalent, absolutely intoxicating, and dangerous beyond belief. For anyone who feels hopeless or damaged or beyond repair, there is hope. You are not damaged. And as a species, we're just way too hard on ourselves, and we all need a huge dose of self-love and self-compassion. With my hand on my heart almost every day, quoting Tara Brach, going, "It's okay, sweetheart." And so I'm just going to keep spreading those. I'm going to keep promoting the book, and have another one coming out of me sometime soon, but I'm not exactly sure what. But I just want to be out there bringing light and love to the world. Absolutely.
What are you going to do for your birthday, girl?
Well, it was just this past Wednesday, and it was great. I happened to be in Minneapolis with my older child, and we actually went to an action that they had planned to not rebuild the 2 police precincts that had burned down. And that was like a wonderful way to spend my 57th birthday, in all honesty.
Absolutely.
Seeing community come together and trying to make a difference in the world. That was great. That's what I did.
And your leadership? Now, do you own the company, or are you just
Yeah.
You own it?
No, my company, I own it. I have a business partner. It's Chatsworth Consulting, CHATSWORTH consulting.com. Yeah, and we work with leaders all over the country, all over the world, helping everyone show up as their best self is the kind of the way I look at it.
What's your favorite part about that?
Seeing people realize that they're whole and loving themselves, right? And yeah, I'm talking CEOs of Fortune 50 companies, right? Like everybody. I have one client, he finishes coaching, and I'm like, "What did you get?" He's like, "Yeah, I need to breathe more." Right? You need to breathe and put your hand on your heart and like be nice to yourself, so then you can go be nice to the world and be better. And I feel very lucky to see individuals, teams, and organizations, get more real, get more authentic, get more connected with people. And every time I help someone make a difference in their life and the world, and I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky.
You're a beautiful soul, sister. Happy birthday.
Back at you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What fun it is.
Thank you.
Another year circling around on a orb floating through space without a steering wheel as a bag of water. How romantic.
How romantic. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Lisa, don't be a stranger. Please keep in touch with me. I really enjoyed our time together. Unfortunately, it's time to go. I love your book, and you're, again, lucky I'm not your mama.
No, I could have used you, but thank you. And right back at you. Yes, stay in touch. Absolutely. We're all in this together.
Amen. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Be well.
Be well. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie. I'm Rustie. That was Lisa Kohn. Get it, but get a couple of boxes of tissues too, and make sure that you don't have any sharp objects to throw. Trust me, a mama is a mama is a mama. Eat 2 cookies, not 4. Love thy neighbor. Do not covet thy neighbor. You know that whole thing, the 7 golden rules or 10 or 12 or whatever, whichever book you read. Don't watch TV. It's just poison. It's bad for you. Love yourself. Go take a bath. Go paint. I don't care if you're painting your neighbor's shed. Ask permission first. That's usually helpful. If not, it's fun. That's about it. That's all the advice and wisdom I have for you today. Know that I love you. Know that you're beautiful. And until next time.